Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today I would like to talk about something a bit personal and something that has helped me grow as a person tremendously, and that is 5 humbling lessons that I have learned by being raised as a foster child. If you want to know more, stay tuned and let's get started with this episode. My name is Harvey Newman and I am currently an animation director for a company called Build a Rocket Boy. I've been working in animation for 15 plus years and I'm loving it, and I like to share my passion for animation here in this channel with all of you. Most of my videos here are all about animation and how to grow as an animator. However, I think that the personal growth that you have as a person is directly correlated to how you grow as an animator, or what kind of animator you're going to be, I should say. So today I want to talk about 5 humbling lessons that I have learned because as some of you that have been following the channel for a while might know, I was raised in a slightly different, awkward way by being raised as a foster kid, and I never really had parents to kind of like raise me and family and all that stuff. I was kind of raised from house to house, being bounced around like a pinball ball until I was about 18, 19, when I finally decided to kind of like go at it on my own and do, venture in the world by myself. Now, being raised that way, it teaches you a lot about life very early on. So all the years as a teenager, as a child, that you should be just like being like naive and enjoying life and just making mistakes. For me, it was very different because I had to kind of like be an adult really early on in order to take care of myself and in order to kind of like have the reins of life, of my life for myself as early as I could, so I wouldn't be actually kind of like pulled into something that I didn't want, as it almost happened so many times in my life. Now, I tried to distill in this video 5 lessons that I've learned. Obviously, I've learned so many more, but 5 lessons that apply to your career as an animator, because they do definitely apply to my career, and I feel like it's a big reason why I achieved as much as I have over the time that I've been a professional animator. And it's because my life has taught me a lot from early on, and I've been able to apply those principles and wisdom to my career in animation, right? So let's start with number 1. So the number 1 tip that I can give you by being raised the way I was raised to make you grow as a person is that life owes you nothing. So I repeat, life owes you absolutely nothing. And by that I mean you can actually have a beautiful family, unlike me. You can have all the money in the world. However, that doesn't mean that all those things guarantee you success, because when you are raised and you have friends with parents that have money and they actually have everything at their disposal, books and best schools and best universities, and because the parents have connections, therefore they can actually go to nice fancy places. To me, being raised the way I was raised, I always felt like, why can that not be me? And that is like something that you are raised with very early on, and I think it happens to everybody, because it almost feels like everybody in school, everybody kind of like has the same path, but then the more you actually go through school, the more you realize that not everybody is equal, and some people can have more than others. And it felt very unfair to me. However, as you grow older, as you realize you can have all the things, you can actually be born with a silver spoon in your mouth and be unsuccessful. So if you have the attitude that the only way you can get things is by actually working hard, blood, sweat and tears, all of that stuff, and you actually kind of like really have it within yourself, then nothing is given to you for free, that you have to work hard. There's no shortcuts in life as much as you think there is. If you actually internalize that thought, you will get much further than anybody else. And it's gonna be hard because life is hard, but that is part of the game of life. I had it hard since my mom gave me away at 2 months old. And since that early age, I basically had it hard all throughout my life. And having things for free is not a concept that I understand. It's basically things that I feel like everything that I do, doesn't matter what I do, needs to be hard for me to have that sense of fulfillment in the future. If it's too easy, it feels like it's not right, and something is odd about this. Therefore, I'm not too sure if this is going to work out. And this is why I say that life owes you nothing. Work hard and make it happen. The second tip that I can give you is have humility, because humility is highly underrated. More people should have it, and once you have it, it will take you to great heights very quickly. Because genuinely, in life, everybody is the same. And the only difference between somebody that was like born with like all the things in the world and somebody that didn't have much in their lives and had to scrap to get whatever they needed or whatever they wanted in life, the only difference between those two people is where they were born and how they were born and how they were raised. Those are the differences. So it's just basically a matter of luck. I had some of the most shittiest jobs, I feel. I had to work obviously in McDonald's. That was my first gig. But then after that, I had to clean dishes for kitchens. I had to work as a waiter for a while. I had to work, retail for a while as well. I had to work on some really shitty jobs throughout the beginning of my career, especially since when I moved to London. When I was in London for the very first time, I had to do quite a lot of stuff that I didn't thought myself to do ever. So I don't know, giving leaflets to people on the street with balloons in my hand is very humiliating, and to do that for weeks on end is even more humiliating, dressed up in some dodgy clothes that I'm not gonna go into. For me, we are all the same thing, that we are all the same people, right? We are all human. And in all honesty, you know the metal of the person, you know what the person is made of when you actually see somebody interact with somebody else that they don't have anything to gain from, right? Somebody like a janitor, that they are there to clean things, but that are incredibly valuable. So if you actually are capable of relating to this person one-to-one and genuinely think that you're not better than them, and just like be friends with these people and talk to them as if they are your equal, that's when you actually get the respect of people at all levels. You only see the person as beneficial whenever they help you with something, and that's not how it should be. You should see the janitor as your equal no matter the situation. From the very beginning, as soon as you meet somebody, just see them as your equal and make sure that you treat them with fairness and with empathy, and that you are there for them if they need anything, because that is what life is about, helping each other as much as you can. Now, third tip is no one is coming to save you. This is a big one because being raised the way I was raised, I always felt like as a child that at some point in time someone was gonna come and save me and rescue me. I always wanted to have the parents that the other kids had, right? Whenever you see a kid, they have parents that really love them and are super huggy and lots of love. I always like, one day, parents like that are gonna come and see how I live and how I was raised, and they're going to be like, I'm gonna adopt you. And at that point, my life is gonna be amazing. And that was the thought that I had all the time. That, and like maybe one day my parents are gonna come and live with me and be with me, right? Those are the two things that I thought the most as I was being raised. Sounds sad, but what that teaches you is that after a certain time when no one comes to save you, or no one came to save me, is that you realize that you are there for yourself, and you yourself need to help yourself in order for other people to help you. I'm gonna repeat that again. You yourself need to help yourself before other people can help you. And the reason why is this. If you actually act like the victim and you're just waiting for somebody to help you, it's almost like you're in a desert island and you're doing nothing to be rescued. right? But if you actually make that SOS sign in the sand, and if you put a fire up, and if you actually make some kerfuffle, and you are actively looking for somebody to help you, then at some point maybe a plane will come along and see that you're actually working hard to be helped, and therefore they might help you. It's basically that. Help yourself first so other people can help you. People start connecting with you and they start realizing where you're coming from, and they try to help you because they see that you're working hard to get out of somewhere. So all of a sudden you get people that are giving you connections. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try this other thing? Have you thought about this other thing? I always remember that when I was working as a waiter in London Bridge, I remember, which was very special because we got to go to the top of the London Bridge, and then some people were having dinner, and it was really, really cool. And even though I was working, people were like being really nice. And I was working really hard to make sure that I was doing the best job I could as a waiter, right? So the people in the table that I was serving felt good, and they felt welcome, and it was all good. And this old man came to me and said, "Young man, can you come over here? Let me talk to you." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." He actually grabbed like a 20-pound note. He folded it, put it in my pocket, and just like, "This is for you. You've been doing an amazing job. And just so you know, when I was your age," and I must have been like 21, 22 years old, when I was your age, I was doing exactly what you're doing right now. I was serving tables, and it was really hard, especially seeing all these people, as you can see now, rich people, like just living large, and you are stuck in this weird position where you barely have money to make ends meet. However, I'm here to tell you that if you continue to work hard and you continue to kind of like stick up for yourself and do as an amazing job as you've done to us on this table today, you will also make it one day, and you will also be in this situation that I am years from now. I guarantee you that. And that advice stuck to my mind till this day. It's funny though, because I feel like I am now in the position that he said I was going to be years later. So he was 100% right. No one is coming to help you. You have to help yourself first, and then other people can come along. They will see it, they will clock it, they will connect with it, with a grind, and then they will try to help you because they will see that as long as they nudge you a little bit left and right, you're gonna go there yourself. They don't have to actually do the work for you. You're doing already the work. They're just nudging you to whatever the direction you need to go, and then you just go and achieve. Fourth point, attitude, it's everything. Being raised the way I was raised, you might have noticed by my comments in the 3 points before this that I was resentful a little bit of other people that had parents, that had money, that had love, that could have a career without being worried about exactly where the money was going to come from. They could create. Like at some point I thought I was not going to be able to be an artist because no one was going to fund my career as an artist, no matter how much talent I had. I had so many problems, and my attitude was very much that when I used to see somebody that had all these things that I wanted to have and I didn't because life was not kind to me, you almost feel resentful towards them. And that was really detrimental to me as a person. So what I was doing is actually wasting time and energy being resentful towards somebody that was just born and raised that way. So that's their reality, and my reality is completely different. So for me to be resentful of somebody just because they were placed or born or raised in a specific way, it's not really fair towards the other person, because everybody has a different background. And I had to slowly change my attitude. And as soon as I did, and I focused on myself instead of looking at others and being resentful toward others, that energy that I was wasting basically became the energy that I can use to improve myself in order to actually be a better person and not be resentful towards others, but work on myself in order to be better in the future and hopefully get to the point where, like I am now, that I don't resent others because I feel like I have everything I need, and I feel very grateful because I have much more than I need even, right? And that is special. Make sure that your mental is there in order to kind of like have the best attitude, because then what that would give you, if you actually focus on yourself and you graze yourself in your attitude, what that will give you is that, for example, when you start in the animation industry, you will see people that are more talented than you, people that earn more money than you, people that are much better off than you, people that have more opportunities than you, people that are luckier than you, and sometimes it's going to feel unfair. Instead of you feeling resentful towards the others, once again, if you work on yourself and you do good work and you continue grinding hard, as mentioned before, you will get to a really special place yourself. But you cannot get there by just resenting others. You can only get there by working on yourself and having the best attitude yourself, so people around you can start gravitating towards you and seeing that you are that person that is always happy for others because you have a nice attitude, instead of you being that person that is always grumpy and resentful because he always feels like things are unfair for himself and this other guy and this other person, and oh my god, all that stuff is negative energy. You don't want to waste your energy on that. Just be yourself, have the best attitude possible, and then win, one day at a time. And the fifth tip, and I think to me is one of the most important ones. They're kind of all important, but this one kind of like runs deep in my veins on this one. But be proud of your work. That is the fifth tip that I can give you. And that goes not only for animation. Obviously, if you do animation, you work hard for many years and now you're animating, so you're proud because this is your career, this is all you wanted, great stuff. But I always took pride in my job, no matter what I was working. So if I was working as a waiter, I was trying to do the best job I could. The one sure way that they could call you back was if you actually were to do a good job. And people will start saying, this Harvey guy, he's a good waiter. Make sure to actually kind of like get him in other jobs as well. And always be professional in what you do. This is why you should take pride in your job, in your work. Then your place of employment will always be there for you, and they will hire you back, and they will actually kind of like make sure that you're looked after. As a director now, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm trying to do the best job I can, not only in terms of art, animation, but also professionalism and me being a good teammate and working with other directors and making sure the company is elevated to a new level. All of that stuff is true in the job that I'm doing. Be positive as well. Be really positive about it. Be with your workmates, be present, and just enjoy the time that you are doing there. That doesn't mean that in your spare time you don't work in your animation, on your skills, to make sure that you actually go away from that at some point if that's not what you want to do. That is the way that you should think about it when you think about being proud of your work. Now, final thoughts. This is something a little bit private to me because it's difficult for me to speak about my early days, since the first 20 years of my life were really, really tough, and they were not a regular upbringing, that's for sure. And to this day, now that I'm 40 years old, I still don't quite get how I got here. I feel like I should have been somewhere else really dark instead of being here. But some way, somehow, I managed to actually kind of like wiggle my way out of the situation that I was. And now I'm here in a much better place with a beautiful family, beautiful house, and living life large. But through it all, I think, once again, all these 5 principles are still very much ingrained in me. So I don't think I'm better than anybody. I always work with respect and pride on whatever I do. All of these 5 things are always within me, are like just built within me, right? It's part of myself, it's part of my persona now. So yeah, that's basically what I had to say this week. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know this is not specific for animation, but more to come about animation next week. Now, before I go, as always, I'd like to thank so much to my Patreons, because they actually support me in many, many ways, and I feel super blessed to have them. If you like to actually support me as well, then please head over to Patreon and check out the perks and the things that I have available for everybody. I try to be quite active over there and share extra videos and behind the scenes on these videos, so make sure to head over there if you actually have a second. That's all I had for you guys. Until next week, stay well, stay safe. Peace.